In the world of spreadsheet software, Excel has long reigned as the go-to tool for crunching numbers and analyzing data. But what if you had a smart assistant helping you navigate Excel's vast capabilities, giving you expert advice and quick insights? That's the idea behind Copilot, the newest and most innovative feature of Excel. Copilot uses artificial intelligence, or AI, to change the way we interact with spreadsheets. So, let's start learning this amazing tool. In simple words, Excel Copilot is like having a smarter helper right inside your spreadsheet. It uses artificial intelligence, which is a type of technology that makes computers think and learn like humans. When you're working on your Excel sheets, AI watches what you're doing and suggests helpful things to make your work easier. For example, if you need to do a calculation or make a chart, you can just ask Copilot using regular words and it will figure out what you need and help you to do it. It's like having a friend who knows a lot about Excel and gives you tips to get your work done faster. Now, although Copilot currently does not come with every level of Microsoft 365 subscription, and it's not free, it's worth looking at how it can help here in Excel. To get access to the Copilot features in Excel, all you need to do is purchase the Microsoft 365 and Copilot subscriptions and install the Excel app. Get Microsoft 365 subscription. Ensure you have a Microsoft 365 subscription that supports Copilot, such as Microsoft 365 Personal, Family, or Business. Obtain Copilot subscription. Install Excel 365 or log into the web app. Once you have purchased the required subscriptions, the Copilot icon will show up in your Excel ribbon, granting access to its features. So if you have access to Copilot with your subscription, you'll see a button up here in the very far right end of the ribbon with a Home tab selected. And if you see it there, you can follow along with me as we continue working with our National Bank Projected Revenues Workbook. I have a link in the description so you can download the same file and follow along with me. If you don't see it set up there in the top right, just sit back, relax, and watch as we explore some of what Copilot can do here in Excel. To use it, there are some prerequisites. Copilot can only work with Excel tables, and that's because the first thing that must happen is the data we use Copilot with has to reside inside a table. That's how Copilot knows the boundaries of what data to analyze. So we'll take care of that first. It's really quite easy. What we want to do is the locations. We want all of the months of the year and the data down below in a table. To do that, we select the data first. So click and drag from A2 across down to M8 and release. That's the data that needs to go into a table, and it's easily done by going into the Insert tab. And from that ribbon, click In Table. You can see the range is already there because we selected it first. Our tables has headers, it's checked on. Those are the months of the year. The labels like location. Click OK. And it's now on a table. And there's a lot of things we can do with tables. So there are many more advantages than just Copilot to having tables like these filter buttons that we see across the top. You can see the formatting colored in the banded rows. Well, right now the Table Design tab or ribbon is on display because of that. And we can go to the Table Styles drop-down button and choose a different style than the default. For example, if we wanted to look more like what we started with, we go to the very first one, which is None. That's No Style. Click there. And you'll see the only difference now if we click in the background is that each of our labels across the top has a drop-down filter button. That's how we know that this is a table. So we have to select a cell inside the table to be able to use Copilot. If we click the Copilot button, you will see a message down there. Autosave is turned off, and this is a second prerequisite. It needs to be stored in the cloud in your OneDrive, for example. So to do that, it's really quite easy. We click this green button, or we go up to the autosave button, which is currently turned off. we're working with a workbook that's stored locally on our own computer. But when we turn this from off to on by clicking it, it's going to take it and move it to the cloud. I have my personal OneDrive already connected. So you might have your own personal OneDrive here that you can sign into if you're not already. So it's taking this and moving it into the cloud. I can tell it's in the cloud because autosave is turned on. I don't need to update changes. That happens for me automatically. And up here you can see the save button has the circular arrows indicating it's automatically updated. That's my hint that I'm working with a table in a workbook that's stored in the cloud. The two prerequisites we need to use Copilot. And sure enough, Copilot is now a selectable button. So if you're following along, make sure you click anywhere inside the table. Use Save to the Cloud and click Copilot. This is going to open up a pane on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, Copilot's like having an advisor that you can ask questions or make requests. First, if we scroll up, you'll see some examples of things that you can learn to work with, like adding columns of formulas and highlighting data, sorting and filtering, and of course, analyzing data as well. Down below, some sample requests or questions you can click. Or go down below in the prompt area, click there and simply type in, or if you're hooked up with a mic, you can even speak your request or question. Alright, let's try something simple, like add a column that calculates all the totals for each of the locations. So it might be something like this. Add a column that calculates the total revenue for each location. Now all we do is we hit send to send that request to our advisor named Copilot. And you can see Copilot's working on it, analyzing and trying to understand the data on the table. And then it's going to pop up some suggestions. So we'll let it do its thing. Alright, it just finished up. And as we scroll up, we can see what it's going to do. It's going to summarize the total revenue for each location by adding up the revenue for all of the months of the year. That's exactly what we want it to do. You can see what it's doing, creating a formula for each of the months of the year. If we want a better explanation of the formula, we can click the expansion arrow. It's going to sum up the values for January to December for each of the locations. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, the Insert button is actually also a preview button. If we scroll over to the right of column M, that would be the ideal spot for those totals to go. Just hover over Insert Column. You can see it shaded in the background. That's exactly what we want. So click the button and it gets added just like that. Total revenues. Click anywhere in the table to deselect the highlighted content. And thanks to Copilot, we were able to do that without really knowing how to do it, even though we could have used some of our knowledge to create those sum formulas to total up those numbers. But Copilot did it nicely and quickly. Alright, let's try another one. Maybe we're having difficulty picking up all of the trends that we see for the various months and locations. So we could simply ask, are there any trends for each location? Let's go into the prompt area and click there. Are there any trends for each location? Question mark and send. Again, it's going to analyze the data on the table where we have our selected cell, and it's going to provide some options to us here in the Copilot pane on the right-hand side. Alright, it's finishing up, and as we scroll up, you can see, well, it looks like we have some correlation here. We could add it to the sheet if we wanted to. There's the explanation. Notice also down below, we can see another insight. There might be more insights. Or maybe we'd like to see all the insights and have them added to the grid. All that means is it's going to create a new sheet down below to put all the insights in so they keep them separate from our worksheet data that we have been working on throughout this lesson. So let's choose Add All Insights to Grid. Sure enough, Sheet 2 is created for us. And you can see some insights in their own little windows, different correlations. You can see it's looking at correlations between various locations. Totals always seem to be the largest value. Of course, that makes sense. Down below, some pivot tables as well. And if we want to keep those, we just leave them where they are on Sheet 2. We might want to relabel these though, so they're better understood. For example, double-click Sheet 2 and just type Insights. Press Enter to lock that in. That means if we double-click Sheet 1, we might call it, How About Revenues? Like so, and press Enter. There are other things that we could do, like ask it how to show the locations where the total is, more than a certain value or less than a certain value to filter out data. Really, the only limit is your imagination. So let's close up Copilot pane up here in the top right-hand corner. As we finish up our journey through Copilot in Excel, it's clear that this tool can change the way we work with spreadsheets. It is designed to help us work more intelligently, not more strenuously. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end, and I'm going to catch you in the next video.